If you were to combine a red light therapy device with an infrared sauna, you would get the SaunaSpace Photon. So, does this product mean we can get rid of our infrared sauna and also our red light therapy LED panels? Well, let's find out. And also hang around because I'm going to be testing the EMF, the light power output, and I'm going to compare this to some other products on the market, which is going to be a little bit tricky, but hang around for that. So there's one thing I can tell you right away. This thing definitely puts out some heat. It's only been set up like this for a few minutes and I can already feel the heat coming off it. It definitely does more than emit just that beautiful red light we're all accustomed to. So what exactly is going on here? Well, the photon therapy light is from a company called SaunaSpace. SaunaSpace has been around for quite a few years now. I have been fortunate enough to meet and speak to the founder, Brian, a couple of times actually. And I know he is very passionate, not just about light therapy, but red light therapy, but also health and wellness, and also like the holistic, natural side of health and wellness. He's also very knowledgeable, and I highly recommend checking out my interviews I've done with Brian. And SaunaSpace actually sells a range of products, including a full sauna setup. What I'm looking at here today is just their single device, the single bulb device, the Photon light. And this device is marketed as an infrared therapy light, slightly different to a red light therapy light. And it's also not an infrared sauna. Now this device consists of a full spectrum light bulb. This is called their Thermolight. The idea behind this handmade bulb is that it emits the same wavelength as the sun, minus the UV and blue light wavelengths. In turn, this light is meant to trigger all of the body's restorative processes, help with cell efficiency, cell energy, and all those good things that light does to one's body. Now, the whole product is handmade using hypoallergenic materials, and each bulb is mouth-blown, hand-rolled, dark red stained, and tempered for durability and beauty. That was a line from the SaunaSpace website. Sounds pretty cool though. Now the bulb itself is what's really doing the work here. Everything else is pretty much just a frame and a stand to let the bulb do its magic. And yes, the Thermolight is an incandescent light. It is similar to a heat lamp, but it's been designed in a way to emit much more therapeutic red and near infrared light. It's also emitting some mid and far infrared light, but again, the focus is on the red and the near infrared range. This is different to, say, a regular heat lamp, which is designed to put out heat as its primary objective, and there's less emphasis on the red and the near infrared spectrum. And of course, it's different to sunlight because it doesn't have blue light and it doesn't have UV light. Again, the idea is you're getting the beneficial wavelengths from sunlight without the harmful, damaging wavelengths. Now, if you head over to the SaunaSpace website, I'll put links down below. Also, I am affiliated with this company, so if you're making a purchase, use the referral links and the discount codes down below. You will save, but I will get a commission. But on their website, you'll see that this is marketed not just as a therapeutic device. There are multiple reasons one may use this. It can be used during the day alongside computer screens to mitigate technology fatigue. It can be a natural blue light-free light source to use in the evenings to help with sleep. It is portable, so it could be used for travel. Of course, it can be used for therapeutic and recovery benefits. And another use case is to create an indoor campfire type effect. Now you may be thinking, seriously, Alex, really? But I've been to a lot of health and wellness expos over the years where people are very clued up on light therapy. And I've been invited to after parties or just casual dinners or meetups during these events. And there have been multiple times where people have had one of these SaunaSpace lights sitting in the middle of the room or sitting on the dining table or even sitting on the coffee table, and all the other lights are off and people are just sitting around it. There's a nice red glow. Every now and then someone would go up and sort of warm themselves up next to the light, just like you would outdoors with a campfire. And I have to admit, there is quite a nice appeal to it. It is putting out a nice red glow, but there is also that therapeutic heat as well. Okay, so what are you getting in the box? Well, you're getting this 250 watt Thermolight, the core of the product. You're getting the stainless steel safety grille. It's also been designed to block any EMFs. You are getting this wooden stand with carry handle, and it is made out of American basswood. You're also getting the cables and a pretty good instruction manual as well. Size-wise, it's 13.5 inches across, 7.5 inches tall and 9 inches deep, and it weighs about 4.5 pounds. Okay, so what I'm going to do now is fire up my spectrometer. We're going to see exactly what wavelengths are being emitted. Now, I do need to say, remember, my spectrometer only measures up to 1050 nanometers near infrared light. So there's going to be a lot of light that we can't pick up here. SaunaSpace have done some testing and have put their own spectrograms on their website. So I'll be sure to share them in the video anyway. Okay, so on screen here, I have a snapshot of the light being emitted at 6 inches. Now, the first thing I want to point out is the power irradiance, or the intensity. What I picked up was 30.5 milliwatts over centimeter squared, which is on the lower side, I suppose, if you're talking, high powered panels, which are up to 60, 80, 90 milliwatts over centimeter squared. And the other thing to note is a lot of this energy, as you can see here, consists of near infrared light. So near infrared starts, around the 700-800s. So a lot of that energy is coming up here. And then, of course, as you go beyond what my sensor picks up, that graph is just going to continue going up because there is a lot of near infrared energy being emitted from this device. We don't need to spend too much time focusing on this. I will come back to it soon because I will do a breakdown of how much red and near infrared therapeutic light is being emitted, and we'll compare that to some panels. The other thing, though, I want to talk about is the wavelengths. As you can see, it's quite a wide band of light. It's a much more natural curve. It's not just some sharp peaks and troughs like we see with LED panels, which have their place because those panels are designed to emit a particular wavelength. So we can see the peak starts around 640. It starts heading up. 660 is there. If we go to 808, 810, that's there. 850 is about there. There is, as you can see, a little tiny bit of blue, green, amber, and then of course into your reds. So it is putting out visible light. It's just that there is a lot more red light, hence it has the red light hue. We can see from the data here that in this reading, the peak is 915 nanometers. Now, what I did is I pulled all of the numbers from this reading, put them in Excel. I'm going to pull up that document now because there's some really interesting insights here. Okay, so what I've got here is I've got a table that looks at winter sun readings, midday winter sun. I've done videos on this, how much red light is emitted in the winter sun, summer sun, top of the range red light therapy panel, the block blue light mega. And then now I've added the Sunstream Sauna Photon. Now remember, my spectrometer is only measuring up to 1050 nanometer light. So there's a lot of energy coming out of this that we can't see, that the sensor cannot also detect. But for the sake of comparing therapeutic red light, red and near infrared light, in that 600 to 1050 nanometer range, this data is quite interesting. So what I actually did is totaled up the amount of energy being emitted between 620 nanometers and 680 nanometer red light. Okay, this is smack bang in the red light, peaking at 660. This particular device at 6 inches was putting out 2 milliwatts over centimeter squared, which is not a lot. Put that in perspective, on a winter's day at midday here in New Zealand, you're getting about 8 milliwatts over centimeter squared of energy in those same wavelengths. On a summer's day, about 11 milliwatts. Block blue light mega at full power at 6 inches gives you 30 milliwatts. So 2 is, it's less than you're getting on a winter's day here in New Zealand. Quite a lot less. What about the near infrared range? Well, because I've done my past calculations using 800 to 870 nanometers, I did the same again here. The Photon is emitting 6 milliwatts of energy in this range. That's about on par with what you'd get on a winter's day, clear sky from the sun. And it's about half what you'd get on a summer's day. However, compare it to a red light therapy panel, that's emitting about 39 milliwatts over centimeter squared. 6 times what you're getting from the Photon. Now, if you're thinking, hey Alex, that's not fair, this is designed to put out a lot more near infrared, so expand that wavelength range. So I did that. I crunched the numbers from 800 right through to 1050, which again is just getting into the near infrared range. It goes well beyond 1000 nanometers, but it's all I can test. The figures I had here were 21 milliwatts for the Photon compared to 25 for a winter's day sun, 34 from the summer's day sun, and 41 from the block blue light panel. So the SaunaSpace device is doing better relatively, but it's still not putting out the same or even close to the amount of energy that a top red light therapy panel was doing, or even the sun for that matter. Remember, this is looking exclusively at the therapeutic photobiomodulation wavelengths, your 600s, your 660s, your 810s, your 850s. So how does this all compare to the numbers on the SaunaSpace website? Well, when I looked this up, I found that the device is meant to be emitting light from 550 right through to 3000 nanometers plus. And yet, that's what I saw. I mean, there was only a little bit at 550. And I actually wanted to read a few lines that I found on the website while looking for this data. You see SaunaSpace say, forget traditional happy lights, experience the real warmth and light of the sun, minus the harmful UV and blue wavelengths. Think of this as light therapy layered over heat therapy, mitochondrial stimulation and the soothing detoxification benefits of heat. This emission includes visible light, near-infrared light, mid-infrared light, and a little bit of far-infrared light. Now, as for the power output or the radiance, SaunaSpace actually have on their website that this is emitting 135 milliwatts of energy at 12 inches, double the distance that I took my reading from. Sorry, I should say 153 milliwatts. Now, 153 milliwatts is a lot more than the 30 that my sensor pulled up. Again though, this is only looking up to 1050, so I wouldn't be surprised if the SaunaSpace reading includes all near-infrared, mid, and even far-infrared energy wavelengths. Which, yeah, I think the 150 is probably correct. However, if you're using these numbers to compare it to, say, a red light therapy panel, remember you're looking at apples and oranges here. It would be like me taking the irradiance figure of an infrared sauna and comparing it to a red LED. Two very different spectrums of light, and also two very different mechanisms of action on the body. Now, I also tested sound. I can tell you now, there was none, which is great. And EMF levels, because SaunaSpace make quite a song and dance about how this is EMF free, very safe, very natural, and no flicker or anything like that. And I can tell you, yes, that is correct. There's no flicker and there's no EMF and no sound. Great. So before I share my thoughts and take on all of this, I want to answer a few questions. I know they're going to come through. How does the photon lamp compare to an LED bulb, for instance? Well, remember, with the SaunaSpace bulb, you're getting the benefits of red light therapy and heat. But as we just saw, most of the benefits are actually coming from the heat side of things. Now, I'm going to read a few lines here from the SaunaSpace website because they've done a really good job of breaking this down. So when we think about light therapy, red light therapy, for instance, our body has special receptors for both red and near-infrared light. The light particles are absorbed by the cell's mitochondria, triggering helpful biological processes and signals. Now, the cool thing is research has shown and proven that this can help with inflammation, help with blood flow, reduce pain, and also the production of energy at a cellular level, which is all great. Now, as for heat therapy, this is where infrared invisible light comes in. This light creates an increase in body temperature, creating sweat, but it also triggers a natural detoxification response. So this bulb is emitting both visible light, including the red, and a lot of that near-infrared light to create the heat benefit. It also mimics nature in terms of how this light is being delivered. Rather than seeing narrow bands of light that an LED is emitting, this is obviously a lot more wider band coverage light. And of course, there's no flicker or anything like that. Now, how does this compare to a near-infrared sauna? Well, the first thing you'll notice is that a near-infrared sauna doesn't put out any visible light. You can't see it running. Some saunas do have overhead red lights, for instance, and that will create a red glow, but that light isn't what's creating the heat. So that's one difference. You are getting therapeutic red light from this as well as the heat. The other difference is you're getting a lot more near-infrared light from this SaunaSpace bulb. Infrared saunas are actually relying upon far infrared wavelengths. Now, SaunaSpace have written a few articles on the differences between near infrared and far infrared. I'm not going to get into that in this video. It's something that I personally need to take a deeper dive into. We have touched on it in some articles. I'll put links to it down below. But the real key difference you need to know is this is relying more on near infrared light. Infrared saunas are relying more on far infrared light. And then the final question that I know will come through is, how does this bulb, the thermal light bulb that SaunaSpace are making, compare to just a regular heat lamp? Well, I should actually get a regular heat lamp to compare it, but my understanding is the thermal light is being designed to put out a lot more red and less visible light, so there's less blues and greens. It's focusing more on the red spectrum, and is also putting out a lot more near-infrared light. than a typical heat lamp. It's designed for health and wellness rather than heating a room. Okay, that's quite a lot of features and questions and data to go through. So how much does all of this cost? Well, it currently retails for $595 US. Now there may well be a discount code down below. Speaking of down below, can you just go down and hit the like button? It'll take you half a second if you're liking this, if you enjoy it. If not, don't hit the like button. And also subscribe, because yeah, like I said, I will try to do some more videos on this topic. It is kind of it's broadening my horizons in terms of what I am focusing on. Typically, I'm more on the photo biomodulation, the reds and the near infrareds. Now we're talking mid, far infrared light, heat, all of those things. So if you want to see more videos on red light and heat therapy and all this cool stuff, be sure to subscribe. I do a lot of reviews and interviews. All right, so what about shipping? Well, it's free to the USA and Canada. And if you want to get it shipped to, say, Australia, expect to pay about $80. The cool thing is you can go over to the website, add the product to your cart, put in your address, and it will spit out a freight cost without having to go too far into the checkout process. Now, as I mentioned earlier, this does come with the stand. It's all very nice. You can get some additional stands for this product. You can get the Photon desk arm for about $200, and you can also get a soft travel case for this for about $275, which could be cool if you're planning on traveling a lot with this. Finally, there's a 2-year warranty and a 100-day trial period with no restocking fees. All right, so it's part of the video where I do the pros and cons. Now, there's a lot to talk about here. So let's start with the pros first. Look, if you're going to use this on your desk or next to the computer screen and you want that natural light and that extra heat, yeah, I mean, obviously the stand it comes with is quite nice, but having the ability to get that desk stand is a nice addition. And I do see the appeal of running this as a natural light source, even a bit of a heat source on your desk setup. I think for me though, it's probably something I'd only do on a winter's day, because this does throw out quite a lot of heat. I like that it is a more natural approach to light therapy. We're not using dialed in lasers or LEDs or anything like that. It is natural incandescent light, it's effectively, and we are getting that broad range of wavelengths, the 650s right through to say 3000. And that's going to appeal to a lot of people. Whether it's the best way to deliver red light therapy, well, based on the power numbers we saw before, I don't think it is. But if you're keen to tap into the benefits of near infrared light, then yeah, this is a great product, especially at the price point. You don't have to go buy a full infrared sauna and get the add-on near infrared heaters. You can spend $500 and get this instead. I like the size. It is portable, well, relatively portable. I mean, you have to plug it in, but you can move it around the house, or you could travel with it if you have a bit of space. And it can also be used as an add-on for your sauna. For instance, let's say you have a regular infrared sauna. You could sit this on the bench and use it as an extra heat source, plus you're getting some of that red therapeutic light. And as I mentioned earlier, you're buying from a very good company. They've been around for a long time, very passionate about the product, this technology, and there's a 100-day no restocking fee trial period, which is great. Finally, I do like the fact that you could use this, in a social setting or in the evening on the coffee table as that indoor campfire sort of vibe. It's not something that I personally would do because I have kids and this will get hot pretty soon. Saying that, we also have a wood fireplace and we don't put any protection around that. So that'd probably be okay. But yeah, I know a lot of people are using this just for that reason alone. It's like a night light. Okay, so what about the downsides? Well, the big one is the lack of power in the therapeutic red and even near infrared spectrum. Remember, I'm looking primarily at the low-level laser therapy, photobiomodulation world of light therapy here. Pretty much, this is putting out less energy in the therapeutic red and near infrared wavelengths than you get in from the sun. So I wouldn't buy this as a replacement to, say, your red light therapy panel. However, you could definitely use it alongside your panel. And if this is the only device you can get, you are going to get some therapeutic red and near infrared wavelengths, which is good. It's just not a lot. Now, on the back of that, this is probably not going to be as beneficial as, say, a red light therapy laser or a panel for deep tissue problems, joint pain, arthritis, muscle recovery. Well, again, this is coming at this from a photobiomodulation viewpoint. There's a whole world of research on heat therapy, near infrared, circulation. So you may still get some benefits from that mechanism, but if you're looking at it from a photobiomodulation point of view, you're not going to get it from this. And another thing is, if you plan on using this for a longer duration to get a higher dosage of energy, of light, remember you've got to deal with the heat. You can't get too close to this because it will literally burn you. And if you're standing even 6 inches from it and plan on doing it for 30, 40, 50 minutes, for instance, probably going to break out in a sweat. Now, what happens when you have water on the skin? Does that cause scattering of light? Is some of the light energy lost into the water? Yeah, that's a whole nother issue. Of course, another thing with this is its size. It's not going to treat a full body, though it's not designed to. But if you do want to target one particular area, again, you've got the heat to account for, and the light isn't concentrated on one point like a portable red light therapy device often is. And then a final downside is, again, the heat that this thing puts out. Even if we turn it off, it's going to stay hot for about 20, 30 minutes, unlike a red light therapy panel where you turn it off and that's it. Okay, overall then, should you buy the SaunaSpace Photon light? Well, it really depends. It depends what you're looking for. If you've heard about the benefits of red light therapy for skin health, for muscle recovery, joint health, all that good stuff, I probably wouldn't recommend this. Well, no, I wouldn't recommend this. I would recommend a more dedicated red light therapy device. However, if you're looking for a really good heat therapy device that puts out a lot of near infrared light, then yeah, sure, this is great. Especially because it does have a bit of that red light in it, which means you could use it as an ambient light source or to get a little bit of a top up of red light if you haven't been outside, for instance. I actually think a better product than this is SaunaSpace's full sauna. You see, you can buy one of these with 3 or 4 bulbs in a full array. The idea is you sit in front of that, you put it all in a canvas tent that SaunaSpace sell, and effectively you've got a sauna. It's a low-cost sauna, and it packs down very easily. It doesn't take up a lot of space. I can see the benefits from that, and I can see the appeal from that. Now, with 3 or 4 of these bulbs, maybe 5 if you put this one in as well, all of a sudden you're going to get a lot more red light energy as well. So you could argue that, hey, all of a sudden now we are getting adequate amount of red light from a setup like this. But from this particular device, again, the numbers show that it is lacking. So I'm curious, if you have one, how do you use it? What do you like about it? Would you buy another one? Would you recommend them? If you don't and you've watched this, what were your thoughts at the start of the video? Did you watch this thinking you were going to get one? And are you still going to get one, or the other way around? It definitely serves a place in the market, and I know a lot of people love using it. Like, I've seen the reviews, I meet people at these events and they swear by it. So it's definitely a good product. But what else is available on the market? Well, the first alternative is what I just mentioned, the larger SaunaSpace setups. If you can stretch the budget, go with one of them. I've used these a few times at these events I've traveled to, and yeah, they throw out a lot of heat. They heat up very quickly as well. You don't need to wait 15, 20 minutes like a regular infrared sauna, and they pack down to next to nothing, which is a great plus. Now, if you're wanting more of a therapeutic tabletop device, this sort of price range, this sort of size, but you're wanting the benefits of red light and near infrared light in the therapeutic window, then yeah, check out one of these tabletop panels. Huga do a good one, Arroyo Therapy, Mito Red Light. There's lots of them out there. I'll put some links to them down below. You're not going to get the heat benefits like you would from this, but you're going to get a lot of energy in the therapeutic red and the infrared windows. Finally, if you want a device that will really throw out a lot of energy, like we're talking 100 times more energy than this in the red and the infrared spectrums that I was talking about earlier, then check out the Ironforge Chroma. It's putting out like 200 milliwatts of energy. It's designed to treat one particular area. So if you've got a dodgy shoulder, for instance, you can treat that in a few minutes. You're going to get a heap of light deep into the tissues, and we're going to get all the benefits that we mentioned earlier. So those are a couple of alternatives. Curious to hear your thoughts. I really hope you've enjoyed this video. And yeah, here's another video up here that you may also enjoy. I'm going to see you over there. Until then, bye.